Hello my lovelies, welcome to this week's midweek wrap up. So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Today we are going to be doing a little bit of an expose, a little bit of a storytelling on my experience with eBay. And just to be on trend with YouTube, we're going to be calling this spilling tea on eBay. So what I've done is I've gone all the way back to my very first Tichel related purchase on eBay. So mostly I've been buying these wonderful things, which are non-slip headbands, not just for myself, I've gotten a couple of times for others as well, but I have kept at least one of each that I've purchased. And the reality is that you never really are getting the same thing twice. Maybe it's because they're handmade and there will always be a little bit of a variance, or maybe it's just because they're constantly being changed. At least twice now I've purchased from a seller called Miss Chenky Store, which I'll post all the details below. You'll get links to every single one of these non-slip headbands and so forth, so that you can get them for yourself too if you so wish. The pictures, however, are the same. I then went on to buy from another seller, probably because the first one wasn't available or was out of stock or something like that. Couldn't find her at the time. So a store called had the exact same picture, the exact same tagline, everything was the exact same except for what arrived at my door. So the first couple, I've actually got the other one of these on right now, it's almost exactly the same, is amazing. So this one, it's a really dark color, which is really perfect for me. That's not something we can control on eBay because we can't see true colors on the screens, so I can't accuse the sellers too much with that, but I do love it because of its darkness. It's also extremely well made, so it's got these crisscross kind of stitches through it. It's really well overlocked as well. And you get a generous amount of Velcro with only a very small tab. So there's no Velcro sticking out beyond the tab. So this part is the smooth part of the Velcro, and the grippy and part of the Velcro that pulls on your hair and on your scarf is actually very well hidden. So if you wanted to make it tighter, you'd have the soft bit be loose, not the ouchy bit. This one's really good. This is from that very first seller, from the Chenky Store one. Like I said, I've got one on, I've got one in my hand, and I've given to friends as well. So I've really enjoyed that particular seller. She does have a black available as well, and a blonde. So you can actually go darker than this, but this is her brunette option. I'm assuming it's a her. Do you like how I just think it's a her? Okay. Then more recently, I purchased from the Sail Out Chic. Now I'm actually really happy with this one. This is called their brown. It's also really dark. So if we're going to compare them side by side, it's also quite dark, almost the same as this one. It's also got that beautiful stitching, just like this one does. But notice how much thicker it is. Isn't that amazing? So obviously it depends on what you're after, but you get so much more thickness, which means the pressure is distributed really well. But the one massive critique I have on this one is that the Velcro, wait, ready? Look how huge it is. So this is the strip opened up. You've got this beautiful soft bit, which is a really good generous size. I like that they've used a dark color, so it's blending in really nicely, so if it slips out you can't see it. But look at this mammoth bit of really grippy, really scratchy part of the Velcro. So if I was to adjust it for my head size, so roughly about there, let's say, look at all this horrible stuff that's sticking out that will snag on my scarf, will probably pull on my hair, will probably scratch my neck. You know, it's just not great. So I would obviously have it on the inside because I would want to protect my scarf first of all. But then what's going to do with my hair and my skin? So I'm going to be doing a little bit of alteration on this if I figure out how, because it's just stitched on. It's not too much of a complicated contraption, and perhaps just chop off a piece of it so that, you know, look, this one was $2 with GST. What, $2.20 or $2.30, something like that. So it's not a massive investment. The first couple I paid under $2 for, so $1.99 or $1.89, something like that. The GST rule came in more recently, so we always pay 10%. You guys out there call it a VAT or just a goods tax. So ours is called the goods and services tax, the GST, and it's 10% flat. So it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what you're buying in Australia. So on checkout, you'll just automatically get, for a $1.86 purchase, 18.6 cents on top. So we'll call it $2. So all of them are roughly $2. Now, loving the fabric, loving the stretch, loving the overlock quality, the stitch through, the color, the really lovely grip on the fabric. But absolutely disappointed with this wad of Velcro. It's unnecessary and quite frankly silly. So we'll be chopping through that. Thank you very much. So once again, we're going to compare to the OG, the one that I love the most, the one that I'm wearing, one exactly the same. That's the other thing. I was really impressed with the fact that even purchasing several months later, I was able to receive the exact same thing. So this one, comparing to one of the newer purchases. Okay, you would think pretty similar, even to look at the tabby part of it. It's pretty similar. Like, it's a pretty like-for-like replica, but it is a replica. This one is made of a nice, thick, very sort of staticky material, so you get a lot of grip through there. You get a really nice overlock and stitch through, and you get this really, really clever tab. Just a little reminder. This one, it's lighter, which is probably okay for a lot of hair colors, but it is lighter and it does stand out a little bit. You still get a good tab that does blend in. They cleverly didn't put way too much Velcro on, so that was good. But the thing itself, it's flimsy and it's thin and it's quite slippery. So even the grippy side is quite, like, it's just flimsy. This one came from a pack of 3. So that's the other 2. There's a black and a blonde in there too. I just figured that you never know, if you've got a white, for example, scarf, you may want something lighter. Who knows, maybe I'll give it to a friend. I just thought that these sort of things that you can never have too many of. So you get a black one in there and a cream one in there and this light one in there. I'm just going to open it up and see if the others are flimsy too, and they most certainly are. So that's the black. I actually really love this color. Again, when it's peeking out from under a tichel, it doesn't matter what hair color you have, it's nicer for it to blend in with the tichel, but it is extremely flimsy, just like its brown little friend here. Okay. And if you compare it to the dark brown, that's the sort of color comparison there. So these 3 cost $9.90 before GST for the 3-pack. So a little bit up there with the prices. I have paid up to $4 for one of them, one of the thin ones that I own. It's okay. They cost anywhere between $2 and $4 on eBay. If you're paying $5 or more, you're paying too much. Keep looking. So even though the prices vary, the sellers vary, and the quality varies, I have to say I wear them all equally. When I'm trying to quickly grab one for a video or for just my tichel that day, I honestly don't even look that closely. The only one that I have been a little bit wary of, and I haven't actually worn out yet, just tried it on, is this beautiful thick one. Feels so good on, but it's just this Velcro. Honestly, that's probably the worst part of it, and it does not show it at all in the ad. The other thing is that there was no real way to determine the size. So the item specifications just say brand new headband in original packaging. That's it. And the picture of the girl actually looks like she's wearing something a little bit more like this sort of size. So I wonder if they just all borrow each other's pictures and just recreate what they recreate. I do admit that I'm very excited about the thickness of this, and I love the color of it. So not at all mad about how it came out, but just there's no indication anywhere in the whole entire thing that there's going to be a giant wad of Velcro. So that's my only critique. The other thing I was able to purchase on eBay, which I'm really, really excited about, is this guy. I love him. He's my friend. I wear him so much. At the back, at the top, it's really easy to control. If you want more volume, you can double it up. It's just huge. It's a really, really stretchy band there. It's really, really well made. I don't know if I'm able, but I'm going to try and show you. That's the kind of band that they used inside. So it's a double thickness elastic in there. So you've got a double band inside. There we go. Like that. Like that. Really beautiful velvet being used there. Excuse my hair all caught up in it, but that's the sort of velvet they used. And the color's really, really perfect. So the color's pretty similar to that guy or that guy. So my 2 favorites. So it's somewhere in between there. Blends in with the hair really, really well. And because it's all crinkly and wrinkly like this, all twisted up, it looks like hair. So it doesn't really look like a shaper. It doesn't have that rough edge like a shaper can have if you don't sort of snug it away properly. It does really just look like a giant bun. So it's probably the most natural looking one. It is a little bit large though. So if you wanted this much volume, that's its profile, then go for this. With a shaper, you can probably control your volume a little bit more. You can go for no volume and just have it as a sort of snood, or you can pump it up full of volume if you wanted to. So that's probably the only thing with this, is that you don't get that much control. This beautiful thing is from a seller called Save Cash for You, 2014, called the Volumizing Velvet Scrunchie Plain Big Hair Tie Bun Clip Hijab Volumizer Scarf. And it was $321 before GST, so call it $350. Yep, it comes in black, coffee, grey and navy, which I think is so clever, to also have a grey option. It's the first time I've seen a grey or a navy option in these types of things, which is really good. So the idea, I guess, is matching the scarf, not necessarily the hair. There is no light option though. There is no white, there is no blonde, there is no cream. So that's probably the situation there. You can, however, buy a couple. So one of these is actually now $382 now that I'm looking at it. So it's gone up a little bit. But if you buy two, the price goes down. If you buy three, the price goes down just a tiny bit. But if you were going to be buying a few colors, for example, I think then that's probably a good way to go for it. And it keeps going down the more you purchase. There is a similar item for a similar price that comes in burgundy and wine red, as well as what they call yellow but blonde. So I'll link a couple of options below if you were a fair colored lady and you wanted something like this in a lighter color. They are absolutely available. I've also spoken several times about the purchases of these types of scrunchies. They're so abundant online. Around $1 to $1.50 in Australian per scrunchie. I just actually bought some more last night with a black with a white polka dot. Got a couple, one for myself and one for my sister. They're so cute, and I've even started to incorporate them as a look on top of the scarf as well, so not just underneath, even though they're so good as a grippy item underneath, to hold the hair in place and to smooth the hair out and things like that. But they're also really cute as decorative items as well. They're so abundant. I can't stress that enough. And that's what brings me to the biggest part about this all, and that is what to search. So online, if you search for Tichel, you're not going to get a lot on eBay. You're more likely to be successful searching for hijab hair velvet. In fact, that's a search that I have saved for me. So eBay often notifies me when there's a new hair velvet option online, and it very frequently goes to scrunchies or headbands and things like that. Volumizing, very important. If you're looking for anything to do with shaping, look for volumizing, and just think about, you know, other kind of synonyms for it. So look for scarf, look for hijab, look for hair accessories, look for things that are a little bit more universal. They're more likely going to be relatable for products coming out of mostly, I would say, Hong Kong. They tend to take about 2 weeks to come. Typically, it hasn't been longer than that. In fact, sometimes it's even quicker. I often find that I buy things, say, over a couple of days, not necessarily related to each other, but they'll all come together. And the joke in my house is the ship from China has come in, because everything tends to come at the same time, which is really exciting because you get this giant delivery and you only just spent, you know, $2 here and $1.50 there and maybe, you know, $6 there. And, you know, it's not very much, but then you get 3 bags come to your post box, which is always fun. Okay, my lovelies, I hope that today was informative and helpful for you. I'm very fond of a company called Rapunzel, but unfortunately to get it into Australia is extremely expensive. And I do hope that the world shipping situation does change over time so that we are able to get some of the most beautiful things out there on the market. There's some Israeli stockists as well that have gorgeous items, and a few others coming out of America as well. Thankfully, in Australia, we have an absolute abundance of accessories. We have many weather changes, so we're big on scarves anyway here, so we're very lucky. We have tons of fabric stores as well. So we're quite fortunate here. We're quite fortunate here and have quite a bit of access just through the retail world. But I will one day endeavour to purchase from Rapunzel because it just looks amazing and the reviews are just phenomenal. And I know the quality is really high. So it will happen one day. But for those of us that don't have that access to one of the best brands out there, as far as I can tell from other people's reviews, we can have eBay. Price-wise, it's definitely impressive. You do get what you pay for. I am going to put that warning out there. So that is me spilling the tea on eBay, that you are going to get a $2 worth of product or $4 worth of product if that's what you paid. But so far, so good. They definitely work. They're definitely decent quality, except for the occasional blooper. Out of my 5 non-slip headbands, including the one I've got on, only one of them was a bit of a fail and one other was a little bit flimsy, but not a big deal. I will probably get use out of the multicolors. That's why I bought it. I just thought I need to see in real life where the use for them is, and I'll probably be giving this away to one of my blonde friends. I've got a few, which is great. I do also advise that you wait and watch. If you don't want to pay $4 for a product that you previously paid $2 for, and you're not in a hurry to receive it, I do highly recommend that you wait. things that I purchased for $1.80 are now $3 and they'll be $1.80 again. Or a different seller might have a similar item for less. You are probably going to get a less quality item, but if you're in a pinch and you just need that extra shaper or volumizer or headband, it is possible. It is possible to purchase it for less money. The other thing I would really highly recommend with eBay, which seems like kind of obvious, but it might not be, is that you can arrange your search in the way you want. So you can do it by best match, which is very rarely the best match in my experience. You can do it in the time, so which auction, for example, is finishing soonest. Usually unnecessary for these items because they're usually not on auction. They're usually just a buy it now type of situation. And the thing that I use is price and postage. So it's described as price plus postage, lowest first. That is probably the best way to do it. Don't go for just lowest price because the postage might trick you. The other thing you can sometimes do is distance nearest first, because sometimes it might be a local supplier. You will probably pay more unless you're in China, but it might get you the product a little bit faster. So if I'm buying, say, a mobile phone accessory or something like that, I may go for an Australian supplier first because then I'll get it within 2 days. Thank you so much for coming along on this journey with me. I hope this was interesting and informative for you and that you enjoyed it. I love having you along. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, to let me know by thumbsing up. If you haven't subscribed, please do. If you enjoy videos that are informative like this, I'm more than happy to do some research and create more content like this for you guys. Check out Instagram for more Tichel and makeup looks. And wherever you are around the world, I hope you're having an amazing day. Thanks again, lovelies. Bye.